everyone, welcome back to Toasty TCG. So I know it's been a while, it's been about 2 months since I put out a video, but in today's video I'm going to be doing a Banlist prediction. It's been a while since I did a Banlist prediction, and I remember the last one I did went really well, so I'm going to be doing another one. My last Banlist prediction, I actually got pretty much everything I predicted correct over the course of the following two ban lists, so that was really interesting. I called the thing with called My Gang Limited, I called the Double Iris, I called the Burning Fist monsters going to 2 and then going to 3. There's a lot of really interesting predictions that I made that over the course of those other two ban lists, I actually ended up being right. So I'm going to try my hand at this again. To start off, we're going to be talking about Miscellaneous Sword. That's something we talked about in the first one. This is still a card that I honestly believe can either be limited or can honestly be banned. It can go either way. The reason that I feel the card can be banned, though, is because it still has Animadorned, and if Animadorned is still in the game, when Miscellaneous Sword gets banned, it forces Dino players to play 3 Animadorned and play more copies of the babies, so that way they can get their combo off. And with Miscellaneous Sword banned, they either have to normal summon the Animadorned or they have to normal summon Oviraptor and try to find some kind of way to get to the Animadorned. It's not just they pitch Miscellaneous Sword from their hand and suddenly they get both monsters, which is just way too much advantage off of one card. So that's why I believe that Miscellaneous Sword can get banned. If Animadorned never existed, then I would say the card would be limited, because Miscellaneous Sword wouldn't generate a lot of advantage on its own, so there'd be no other good level 1 dinosaur that you can just summon on the board and generate a +2 off of. So in this current day and age, I think Miscellaneous Sword should be banned. Next up we have Astrograph Magician, or Astrograph Sorcerer. I called this in the last Banlist prediction I made that pretty much every Pendulum card that was banned because of Electromite should return now that Electromite is banned, and it's probably not coming back. I think they're going to do what they did with Double Iris. It should go to 3, it's common sense the card should be going to 3. But, no, it's going to go to 1, just test the waters where Double Iris is. And then, in 2 ban lists from now, it's going to go to 3. This is just simply because these cards all got banned at the same time because of Electromite. And now that Electromite is banned, the reason that these 3 cards got banned is banned itself. So it only makes sense that these 3 cards can all return to 3. And you can play Timegraph Control again. That was a really fun deck. It was my favorite version of Pendulums, honestly, that control version of the deck from right before Electromite came out. I think this card can really go to 3, and Timegraph Control wouldn't do too much in this meta. I feel like it's a little bit too slow now. You're going to make Omega, you're going to make Baguska set a Timegraph. Yeah, it's not as powerful as it was when it was originally a strategy. So this deck can probably just be back at full power and be perfectly fine. Next up, there's Cyber Angel Benten. This is pretty much the Sky Striker Engage of Drytron, and with Drytron getting a very powerful XC soon, they're not going to need this card. And this is really a card that was never intended to be used with Drytron. This is one of those old cards that has no drawbacks, no once per turn effects. It wasn't made with Drytron in mind. It was one of those things that just happens to work with a deck that came out 10 years after this card existed. Probably even more. Just fact check that for me if you want. I'm not sure when Benten came out. I just know it was way before Drytron existed. So Konami didn't make this card with Drytron in mind. Maybe Drytron was made with Benten in mind, but the other way around just isn't true. Yeah, this card's not once per turn. There's no drawbacks to it or anything. It's one of those old cards, like Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, for example. Smoke Grenade of the Thief. It was one of those cards that was never made with new Yu-Gi-Oh in mind. and it's just going to have to end up like all the other cards where you just have to get rid of it now because it's one of those old cards that is way too abused in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! It's always going to be a +1 in Drytron, and it's pretty much, like I said, Sky Striker Engage, but for Drytron, which is why this card just really needs to go. Next up, we've got Mystic Mine. This card can probably be limited, but it can also be banned. It can go either way. The reason for that is Mystic Mine's just never been a fair card. It's not seeing a lot of play right now, but it's one of those cards that it's always going to be a problem when it comes up. When there's a format where Mystic Mine can excel, it's going to excel way too hard and just create these very uninteractive, boring game states that's going to drag the whole game on longer than it should. And on top of that, with the time rules that we have, this card drags games into time where people who have no right to win that match solely because of Mystic Mine and not actually because of their deck or their skill, which is why Mystic Mine should be limited at the very least, but it can also be banned. It's another one of those cards that can just go either way. Next up is Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. This is still the very worst Dragon Ruler. It can go to 1 just like Tempest and not really do anything. Tempest will still be the better Dragon Ruler and is at 1. There's not much to say about this card. It's not that good in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Its fire effect, where you discard it with the fire monster, is not that good. Just the whole fire attribute is not that good. It doesn't have like too good of a level. There's just not too much good to say about Blaster. Honestly, Tempest is a better Dragon Ruler and is at 1. So that's why that card can come back. Next we got Thunder Dragon Colossus. Yeah, you know. No, no, we're gonna have this card. It's got to go to 1. I feel like Thunder Dragon Colossus is a necessary evil, and yes, I am extremely biased about Thunder Dragons, but you guys already knew that. Yeah, this card can go to 1. There's a lot of decks in meta usually that have a lot of searching in mind. Like I was talking about Drytron previously, there's a lot of searching in that deck. This format, people are playing with Duelingbook in the side, if not the main deck. So I feel like Thunder Dragon Colossus can come back to also help combat those decks that search a lot. And if they really want to hinder Drytron, because they're giving Drytron this new support card, so they also have to give counters to Drytron support, such as Thunder Dragon Colossus. There's also Virtual World, where they have the Lulu and the continuous spell. I can't think of the name. Let me know the name in the comments. Really can't think of it right now. Things like Xiao Fang or something. The Cyber Angel. The Virtual World Quinlong. I have no idea what the full name of it is. But yeah, that card search. You have Virtual World Lulu to search. There's probably one that I'm forgetting. There's probably a few other cards in Virtual World that search. Yeah, Colossus, definitely necessary evil. And the thing is, it's actually not that hard to out. When it was in the meta, there's a lot of ways you can get off the field without destroying it. It's not like it's Dragoons where you can't target it and you can't destroy it. It just has a way to protect itself, and you can just negate those effects very easily because that's the only protection it has. You can still target it with effects and things like that. And now that Dragon Buster Destruction Sword is banned, you can't go Union Carrier, equip that to Colossus. Now your opponent's locked out of the extra deck, and they can't destroy the monster that has the Dragon Buster equipped to it. It's like I said, it's a necessary evil. It's not overpowered evil like a Dragoon, a Zexal, a VFD, something like that. Yeah, I can see Colossus coming back to 1. I wish it would go back to 3, but yeah, it'd be cool to see it go back to 1. Next up is Skullcrobat Joker. I already discussed the whole thing with Astrograph. Same thing applies to Skullcrobat Joker. I can see it going to 1, and it might actually stay at 1, just because it searches out, I believe it searches like 4 different archetypes on just normal summoning it, so it can probably just stay to 1. I think like Astrograph will go to 3 2 ban lists, but we'll get Astrograph to 1 and Skullcrabat to 1 this ban list, but we won't get Skullcrabat to 3. I think that's how it's going to go. But same rules that I apply to Astrograph apply to Skullcrabat, where it was banned because of Electromite, so now it can come back because Electromite is banned. Next up, we got Wall Revealing Light. Way overdue. This card doesn't do anything. For new players who have no idea what Wall of Revealing Light is, that's argument enough for why this card can come back to 3. It does literally nothing. At best, it's a way worse Mystic Mine. Yeah, card's complete garbage. I don't know why it's still banned. If you have a theory on why Wall Revealing Light is banned, feel free to drop that in the comments for me. But as it stands, I see this card should go back to 3. This has been like way overdue. This is probably one of the most way overdue cards going from 0 to 3 in a long time. And then next up is Double Iris Magician. This card can finally go to 3. It did absolutely nothing at 1. 2 would just be a weird spot to put it at. So this card can go back to 3. Like I already said, didn't do anything. And it would give Time Graph Control a much needed boost, so that Pendulum Magicians can be a really cool deck again to play. Like I said, Pendulum Magician, Time Graph Control, it wouldn't be overwhelmingly good, but I think with Astrographs and Skullcrabat to 1 and Double Iris back to 3, the deck will be able to compete at a rogue level, but it's not overly powerful like it was back in the day, 2 or 3 years ago when it had everything for Electromite. Yeah, this card, enough said, it's probably going to 3. VFD banned easily. Very uninteractive card. It's pretty much the win condition for Virtual Worlds. If this card were to get hit, Virtual World would have to actually play their own archetype, their own extra deck. They won't just be able to turbo out Calamities and then just win because they play Calamities and not because the actual deck itself. And this card has honestly been in and out of the meta over the course of years that it's existed. This card's always been a problem at different times in the meta. It's not like Virtual World came out and suddenly this card that everyone forgot about and was in everyone's bulk suddenly magically became good. No, this card has always been a toxic problem that everyone hates. It limits gameplay. It's very uninteractive. It's one of those bad player cards, in my opinion. It's one of those cards that people use to carry themselves. You don't even have to build Virtual World good. If you can make this, if you learn the Virtual World plays, so you can make this card's just going to carry the game for you, and that's really unfair to the other person. That's the thing about the meta, though, is any meta is full of unfair cards, but at the same time, those unfair cards shouldn't just outright say something like, my opponent can't play the game. These unfair cards, like Dogmatic of Punishment, for example, that's an unfair card, but it's just disruptive to their opponent's plays. It doesn't just outright say, you don't get your turn, you can set some cards and then pass to me while I have my entire turn uninterrupted. It's just super unfair. It creates completely uninteresting games, and it's never not been a problem. It's always been a problem. Anytime that this card's been made in any deck, it's immediately just a one-sided game or an uphill battle for the player on the other side of the table. We're talking about a really steep hill here. This card can definitely be banned. That's my banlist prediction. Hopefully this prediction is as accurate as my last one, and I really hope most, if not all, of these things happen in March. I guess we'll know in about a week. So this is Toasty TCG signing out.